Welcome to Buffzone. We're here at the Colorado practice fields, home of the 2-0 Colorado Buffaloes, where they are off to a great start so far. Last week defeated Idaho State 56-7 right over here at Folsom Field. They've done a great job so far through the first 2 weeks. Obviously the competition has not been there like it's going to be for the next 10 weeks, but they've taken care of business. And first off, defensively they've done a really nice job, holding opponents to a total of 14 points in 2 weeks. So they've done a great job there. They're the #1 defense in the country as far as allowing yards, so they've done a great job through the first 2 weeks. Offensively, they're #7 in the country. They've really done a great job there as well, put up 100 points so far in the 2 games, and despite some of the tweaks and changes they made in the offense, they haven't shown any rust or any kind of growing pains as they try to learn those things. It helps having some veterans back, including quarterback Sefo Lufau, and he talked about some of the confidence that they've gained offensively through the first 2 weeks.
I think that the biggest thing is that in the first 2 weeks, the plays that we had in, we repped them over and over and over again, and we're doing the same thing this week. And if anything, the first 2 weeks have showed us the potential that we have, and we've made mistakes in the first 2 weeks, but that's bound to happen, and we've learned from those mistakes, and it's just built our confidence. We've seen what we can accomplish, what we can do as offense, both in the running and the passing game, and we want to build off of that and continue to do that. Even if you play a great team, great defense like Michigan, the goal doesn't change. We have a certain set goal for each, or goals for each week that we want to accomplish, and we want to go out there and basically be the same every week, and if we can, do better than the week before. And so that's our goal going in this week. I don't really care who lines up against us and what defensive scheme they have. We want to go out there and we want to execute, and we want to score points, score touchdowns.
Things are going very well for the Buffaloes right now. Of course, the competition does get quite a bit better this week. They face #4 Michigan up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, at the Big House in front of 110,000 fans. It's obviously a huge step up in competition. The Wolverines, very good. They've got some of the better players in the country, some of the best defensive players in the country. They've got a quarterback that is a new starter, but he's doing a good job so far. Talented receivers, talented running backs. They're great in the trenches. They've done a lot of good things, obviously, to earn that #4 ranking. And Coach Mike McIntyre gave us a little bit of a scouting report on what he expects out of the Wolverines this week.
Big and athletic. They are really big. They're very athletic. They've got a lot of depth. They're experienced at all over the field, and they've got a lot of freshmen that they're throwing in there that are very athletic too. But big and athletic. They do a very good job defensively. Do a lot of stunning. Able to play a lot of good man coverage. Offensively, they're able to run the ball. Great at play action pass, and the quarterback can really throw the deep ball well.
One of the interesting things out of this week is going to be how the Buffaloes handle the atmosphere. They're expecting about 110,000 fans up at Michigan Stadium. It'll be the largest crowd to ever see a Colorado football game. Last week there was about 39,000 people at Folsom Field. It's a huge step up there. These players have never seen this kind of a crowd. They've never played in this environment, so it's going to be interesting how they handle it. But really, I love the attitude of these guys this week. They've all said that they're treating this game like any other game. You hear that a lot in sports, but I really believe that these guys believe that, how they're just focusing on themselves and kind of handling their business. And a few of them talked about really how they're approaching this game against Michigan.
We're not really trying to overthink anything like that. We're just trying to approach it just as another game. We're practicing just like we practiced the last 2 weeks. We really focus on ourselves and focus on, how to approach the game and how to play Colorado football. So that's our main focus right now. I've never been to a stadium before, but going to a stadium like this, you always hear how big it is, how loud it is. So I think as long as we block out the distractions and stuff like that, we'll be fine. We're ready for every challenge. It doesn't matter who we're playing against. We always gonna feel like and have the mindset that we're gonna come out with the win. So I feel like that's how the rest of the season's gonna be. We're ready for every little moment. Since I've been here, we've been through a lot. I played in double overtimes. I played in 1 overtime. I've been hurt. A lot of stuff. A lot of players that's been here with Coach Mack for all 4 years. We've been through a lot with him. So that's why I feel like we're ready for any challenge.
We get to go play against 110,000 Michigan fans. They're a great team, top 10, ranked 4. I mean, what else could you ask for? And we've played in plenty of stadiums. That's probably the biggest on-campus stadium. But we played at USC, we played at Oregon. Their stadium's a little more spread out, so it's not as loud. But it's definitely going to show how mature we are.
Especially the 4 years I've been here, we haven't won a lot of games, and so we want to leave this program in a better state than we left it. And so each game we're treating with the utmost importance, and each week we want to go out there and prove ourselves and prove that we can play with anyone and beat anyone.
I think one of the fun things of this matchup is going to be the fact that we get to see two of the best defensive players in the country. Michigan's Jabril Peppers is known as that around the country. Colorado's Chidobe Awuzie, maybe not so much because Colorado has not been on the national level that Michigan has, but Chido, obviously one of the better players in the Pac-12. I think he's one of the best defensive players in the country. The two of them very good, and they're kind of similar players, and Coach Mike McIntyre talked a little bit about how those two guys are similar.
They are very similar in a lot of ways. They're both physical, they're both athletic. They flash like crazy on film. One wears 4 and one wears 5. I think you'll see both of them making a lot of plays.
Obviously, you Buff fans are hoping that Chido makes a few more plays than Jabril Peppers does this week, and that'll be a lot of fun to see those two guys play. Regardless, keep your eye on those two guys because they're going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see them on Sundays eventually at some point. Before we get out of here, we want to highlight our Buff of the week, and it's senior cornerback Akella Witherspoon. He's off to a great start. He struggled with consistency throughout his career, but so far through 2 games, that's not been an issue. He's played about as good as he's ever played. I know, again, the competition has not been there quite yet. It's going to step up this week, but Akella was our Buff of the week.
Yeah, I'm pleased. Just working on putting everything that I've worked on in the offseason to play on the field, and I think I've done that. I mean, that's what you work for, just to see it come into play when it matters, and that's really what I've harped on, is just being consistent and coming out every game and playing well. I'm just going to go in there and play Colorado football. I'm not going to be superhuman, do the same things that have allowed me to be successful in these last 2 games. Coach Mac harps, we're the biggest team that matters, not on the schedule, so that really relays back to the fact that you just have to focus on being your best as an individual.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us. We will see you again next week as we talk about the start of Pac-12 play when the Buffaloes head up to Eugene to face the Oregon Ducks.